Carol,
Here.
Manning,
Here.
Cousins, Severson, Williamson,
Here.
Cooey,
Here.
McGuire. You have 5 for reform, sir.
All right. Verification of the open meetings law compliance.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Approval of the agenda. So we got 62 points. Second. All right. Motion from Gary. Second from Chad. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Any questions about the minutes? Not, I would consider them approved as published. Public comment. Anybody out there? Quiet. Okay, reports, property management, departmental activities.
Okay, not a whole lot for mine this month. Just a couple things we've been doing. Trees out to the campus behind Simon's, the pines up in there that are all dead. Lonnie from the highway department came out, him and Brian cut down a batch of them, piled them. And I took the skid steer out and moved everything into a really good pile. So as soon as we get some snow, we're gonna burn that. Then we got some on the other side of this, the gravel road that we're gonna move over from another pile. Cleaning that all up there. Hopefully this next week we can get that done. Birch trees at Simon's out in front of their main building. We cut all those down early last week. That's all been removed. So they can do in springtime, they can do all their landscaping and whatever they plan on doing there. Furniture from the campus that we've been swapping back and forth with offices here, still doing that. Just finished up, we did child support a couple weeks ago, and now we just finished up treasurer's office today. That has all been completely remodeled up in the treasurer's office. If you want to take a look, see how it's all changed up there. We'll be starting register of deeds probably next week or the week after. Once we get stuff moved from out there to here, and then we'll switch them all out because she wants a bunch of desks changed out. So other than that, that's about all I've got right now with buildings.
No issues with that, go ahead, Steve.
Question, we got a new chipper now, right?
Stump grinder we have.
Yeah. I thought we had a chipper also.
We do have an old 3-point chipper, but it's kind of a dangerous one to use. We're actually gonna auction the thing off.
Never mind.
You want to make.
Any other questions? No crazy things you gotta fix that are gonna show up.
No,
next month?
everything has just been minor lately, around the building, just the normal wear and tear things, fixing the small things. Otherwise, knock on wood, nothing right now.
Thought I'd ask, probably start something, but I thought
Yeah.
I'd ask. All right, Josh?
Okay, it's winter time, so we've been basically either on the roads, treating things with sand and salt. We haven't had a lot of snow, but we've had a lot of slippery conditions. Otherwise, it's been brushing and some mowing. And then we've also been working around the shop as well. During the cold weather, we moved into the parts room because we integrated a new digital system on QuickBooks to manage our inventory. And we found there was pallets upon pallets of parts that have been accumulated over 20 years that we don't even have the equipment that stuff goes to. It's a liability. So we've also reached out to some of the parts companies that did take a good portion of the stuff back, luckily, and credited us, but we are going to be auctioning those items off, which leads into the next point of we are getting ready for a smaller auction with the new trucks starting to get ready to show up this year. We're going to be auctioning off the chipper, truck 42, one of the dozers, and then one of the squad cars that we got from the sheriff's department several years ago, but it has a gear driven water pump. It's like almost a $4,000 repair. It's just not worth it. So we're going to be getting rid of that. And obviously the overburden stuff from the parts room. And then for bills from December, we were at $390,704.14. Some of the bigger stuff in that month was obviously the rental of that loader from Aaron's that was basically covered by the insurance claim. That was at $41,500. And then data from the data recovery from County Road O, truck parts from the Bush. Some of them were turbos, twin turbos on the trucks, those kind of get pricey. MSA on the campus bridge, so on and so forth there. In January, we're at $240,112.51, kind of a lighter month, and we're hoping to keep this year as slim as we possibly can. Last year really hit us hard with paying for all the right of way, the data recovery on the old project, along with the finalization of engineering and so on and so forth there. So that ate us down really hard. So we're looking to keep things really slim this year as much as possible to kind of make up and start to build our fund balance and cash flow back up for highway. You will get reports on that later on. The ARPA money that we transferred over, that saved us a lot to cover a lot of those costs and bring us back up, but it still shows a loss for the year because of all those heavy charges that we had. That's all I have on that, Mr. Chair.
All right,
When you say auction off, you mean Wisconsin surplus?
Wisconsin surplus, yeah.
go ahead, Steve.
Josh, what's the data recovery thing? What's that?
ARC recovery, so any data from artifacts from underground, we had to bring in, per the DOT and federal requirements, we had to bring in specialists because there's several hotspots on that road where Native American artifacts are identified to possibly be. So they worked up and down that stretch of O, anywhere from right by the bike trail by Walmart, all the way down to the intersection of O and 00 and Santa Claus Lane. They opened up several different excavation points that went down like at least, I think max about 3 feet, 36 inches or so, and sifted a bunch of the soil looking for artifacts. All we know they found was one arrowhead. The rest was like possible chippings and things of that nature. They identified those spots because they seen it as a actual like living area for the Native Americans. They owned a deer, whatever they did there. So that had to be done.
But they call it data recovery on the bill.
On the bill, it's called data recovery.
Okay.
All right. Item number 8, discussion of possible action on the approval of use of the courthouse lawn by Grace.
I can speak on that. So Nettie Collins from the jail down there, I think she's on the committee or something for Grace. She asked, I told her it had to come to this committee, but they're asking to place the car on our lawn that they're giving away this year. And you can see it throughout town. It's been placed in many different places. But they're asking for the use of the courthouse lawn a couple times, 2-3 times during the year, before the Grace happens in the early fall or whenever they do that.
August.
And so I just told her, bring it to here, and I told her not to come up. I said, I'll take care of it. So I'm okay with it. I could place it whenever we need to place. I could put it here on a corner where the sign is normally at, so it's not, I don't have an issue with it as long as I can mow around it and move it.
I make a motion, we approve it, I think it's a good.
Motion from Gary. Second from Chad, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
And I'll just work with her on the times and dates for those.
Sounds good. All right, discussion possible action, update on 2025 annual bids.
So again, it's the annual bids we do at the start of every year, but keeping this year really light. We're not doing any major projects internally on any of the other county roads, just County Road O that's been coming for 20 years. And that's all contracted out. We won't have very much to do with that process once it gets going. So the only bids that we're really doing is one plow truck, which will be a tandem axle. And those bids are out there right now. We're waiting to receive back for March. And then the tack oil for seal coating. The last several years, we've always bought a little bit extra chips and stockpiled them. So this year, we're not going to buy any chips. We're just going to run with what we have. And all we have to do is get the oil for that. And then our annual culverts bid. And those are the 3 bids you will be reviewing and looking to approve in March.
How many miles of seal coat you plan on doing?
15.
15.
Yeah, and they keep that even lighter to make sure we can incorporate the oil and the placement of the chips and manpower. We're doing newer roads. It's another wear service on them, so that way we don't have to really go out and buy a lot of asphalt and try to wedge and patch them up that way.
Who's been getting the bids on the chip, is it Milestone or Middle Power?
The chips themselves, we send them out, so we'll get them in from Milestone, and then Farner's been the main supplier in the last couple of years because of that washboard paint lady.
I think they get them out there to,
Rock Springs.
yeah.
Yeah.
So who's been mainly getting that bid to?
It's usually been Farner that get those.
They have the last two.
Yeah, Milestone has bidded against them on that, and they're actually coming out of the same pile, but Milestone always came in higher.
Yeah, we see that. Whatever reason, farmer seems to underbid everybody. All right, so there's anything action on that. Discussion possible action, TDA conference attendance. I don't know what that is.
Yeah, so highway departments are part of the WCHA, which is Wisconsin County Highways Association. That works in basically at the state level. Then they also partner up with the TEA, which is the Transportation Development Association. That's on the federal level. They are placed in Washington DC, and of course, that's where they work is the federal level. Most commissioners, at least once in their career, are invited to go out to the TEA fly-in. It's a several-day event the first week in April. You fly out there. You meet at Capitol Hill. You have a meet and greet, and then some after-hour stuff, and then meetings with representatives to state your case. We're poor, we need more money, cut the red tape, so on and so forth. Normally, it's a pretty expensive ordeal, but every year the TEA, along with WCHA, will do a scholarship program for commissioners to be able to do that. So they'll reimburse up to $2,000 of the cost. I did not pursue that, but somebody higher up at WCHA decided, hey, we would really like Josh and Roger Petrick to get out there at the federal level and play. So somebody filled out the scholarship paperwork on my behalf. I found out at the January road school up in the Dells that I had received that. So in the first week in April, I'll be traveling to Washington DC for a week to do that gig and get a taste for it. They also want me to look at eventually moving up in WCHA and get on the board of directors, the exec board of directors there to represent the Southwest District. So that's something that come down the road too. And it's a good thing to be part of. It definitely gets your county ahead of the game with what the DOT and federal level are working on. We'll be the first to know things and actually be able to advocate for our level. So I will pursue that in the future, but I thought I'd let you guys know because it's an out-of-state travel thing. I don't know what the county's exact policies on that. It's a scholarship that's paid for. Just thought I'd make it known and then see if anybody has any issues or.
I don't see any issue. I mean, the only thing I would say is that we need to see what the policy is on. I mean, there's a policy for travel, right? And with this being, I mean, the cost isn't anything we need to work out the cost. There's no cost for the trip. No, but you know what I mean? So on the same token, are you working, you know what I mean? It's work related, right?
The policy I'm aware of is out-of-state travel for work is approved, but it has to go all the way up through county boards to recognize it as a resolution allowing you to do that.
So we need to make sure we get that on the county board.
Yeah, in the commissioner's world with the administrative type government, it's a little different, but I would prefer to keep it to the old way and run it through a resolution just so all the i's are dotted and t's are crossed.
So we'll have to get with Mike and get it drawn up.
Yeah.
Okay, let's try to get that done so we get it done in March for sure, if not this month. So I need a motion to create a resolution for Josh to do out-of-state travel to the TDA conference in Washington DC.
April, is it?
April.
Of this year.
So Chad makes motion. Steve's gonna second. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Right?
Aye. Motion
Will
carried.
that have sort of personnel and finance?
It may, we'll,
Yeah, we'll have to talk to
him and Derek will figure it out.
Figure out
If that's the
what-
case,
next
we
week.
still have time. Our first executive in finance will be before the county board in March, so we can hit it.
Well, even if we get it, I mean, depending how fast you got it, I
I
mean, it's
can
not
do
that big of a deal
We could
to
still
make
get
that resolution.
We can put it on the second executive finance.
Exactly.
Oh,
Catch
this
it.
one.
Just so we get it done in March. We just gotta have it done by
Yeah.
March.
That one is starting to fill up with.
Go ahead.
Josh, the state one, what all do they do? What would you be doing?
On the board,
Yeah, so, yeah, for the board of directors.
Right.
So, again, you're working more with a consolidated group of commissioners representing all the districts of the state for the highway. And then you work more directly and pass motions to take it to the state like DOT for adjustments, or if you want to dig your heels in about something, or you want to try to push to change something. So it's basically each district in the state of Wisconsin has a representative, and in which case we'd be the Southwest District, and I would eventually be the representative for that. You work with the other representatives as it's, well, simplified. It's just like the committees we have here. You have your individual smaller committees up to executive finance, up to full county board, and that's the same principle that this follows.
So then you guys advocate or give it from DOT and then they give input to legislature or how?
Correct.
Yeah, okay.
All of the above.
Okay.
Josh, when you're going like that, who's doing the second command out there?
It would be on county operations, it would be Derek Brown, the county superintendent, and on the state side, it would be Lonnie Hatch.
You know, that's the one thing we added. What, 5 years ago when we added, never had a county. You know, it was just state. So, and now it's coming into play, which is good because you don't have, same thing as you filling in as deputy administrator, so.
Yeah, we worked hard to develop that highway department with everybody's roles and outline them, so if something happens to me or one of them, we have a secondary protocol to follow.
All right. Got through that. Discussion possible action number 11 on campus bridge update.
All the engineering and everything is done. The bid letting, will take place the 25th of this month. So any contractors interested in bidding on that actual building of the bridge has until the 25th to submit. I thought I'd let you guys know. If there is a couple of the contractors, one for sure that is a little work hungry for the spring, so he may want to get started. His company may want to get started a little earlier, which by all means get it done. So we could see it starting as soon as May of this year, the actual construction.
So is that a public bid opening? How's that?
That is actually done by MSA Associates. They take care of the bid letting process for us. There are proper management. So.
Okay.
I was under the understanding we had all this taken care of already when we approved the project.
No, you had approved MSA to do all the engineering and do project management, but and it still has to get approved by DOT, so on and so forth, even though if there's no DOT funds involved, but DOT still have to verify the actual design of the bridge.
All right. Item number 12, county O update.
That one's getting ready to kick off here as well. Soon as we're gonna see work start on that is probably the first week in May, because that's when the DNR will release everything. We're trying to see if they can get started any sooner with the grubbing process and actual dirt work. But most likely the first week in May is when you're gonna see things start there. And our first pre-con meeting is currently scheduled for sometime in April, date to be determined, but the month of April. The other part of that is the city had reached out to me about that because the civil engineers for the hospital was interested in getting whatever bill they could off that project. So I connected with the civil engineers. I connected with Mizey, who's a selected contractor, got them in touch with each other so you could see some of that fill from the old project heading over to the future construction site of a new hospital. So.
If we do a demo out to the campus, could you see that being used?
I couldn't tell you what they're looking at for fill, what would be allowed to spill out there.
It'd be nice to have someplace close to go on.
All right. Any other questions? Okay, discussion, possible action, modification, public works standing committee meeting date and meeting frequency. All right, so I wanted this on there because to me, it doesn't make any sense to have this meeting without seeing the bills. I mean, not that we do have to approve them, but it's good to see the bills. I mean, otherwise we could have a meeting on the first of the month. And that was the reason why we moved it to where we had it before. So I was a little confused why we moved it backwards. But anyway, I realize if we get past the first finance, that's not really a problem because we got the second one. But county board wise, it's always going to be a month later, but that's pretty normal anyway.
And it's a rare circumstance that we need to get to executive finance, because usually everything here is budgeted for ahead of time. And if we have to call a sooner meeting for something, we could, but it'd be a rare thing. For the time being, I would like to leave it, especially for the beginning of the year, each month, because of the bids for the beginning of the year have to get passed, but after that, it's really at your guys' discretion.
So I mean, calendar wise.
Yeah, cause come July, we might, what was it, last month it was 15 minutes?
Exactly.
Right, so that's what we're trying to kind of avoid. But I think by July, we might be, June or July, you might not have a meeting if we're as light as we were in January. Who knows? We got a lot of stuff going on.
Well, the first part, I'm not so much worried about that as I was that you don't have anything to talk about anyway if you have it on the first day of the month.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean,
Yeah.
you got last month's stuff, but to me, it just makes sense to,
Move it to maybe the second Thursday of the month.
you gotta get somewhere where you're in that 7th, 8th, 10th,
Yeah.
13th. I mean, if you look at February, if we went the second Thursday, we're at the 13th. March would be the 13th. April would be the 10th. I mean, to me, that sounds like a better date to do it. Be the 8th on May.
Yeah.
That's kind of what we were before, only it was on Wednesday, wasn't it, versus Thursday or something, I don't know.
It might have been, but the second Thursday of the month works better, because then I can have the monthly bills ready to go, and then with also working on how we present financial, we work with an outside consultant to get different spreadsheets that are easier for everybody to understand, so we can actually track budget like very currently, so we'd really like to be able to present differently to you guys on financials.
I would agree with that. So I'll make the motion to move the meeting to the second Thursday of the month, starting the month of March, March at 4 PM. All in favor? Aye. Motion carries.
And Mark, you were the first.
Yeah, I was first. All right, future agenda items.
I would have one, Mr. Chair.
Yep.
Looking at how we're managing maintenance across the county with parks and trails and buildings, we want to do some cleanup there, because we've been working through it the last couple of years to pull money from here and over here and over here, and we like to get that cleaned up. So, future agenda item, especially for next month, we'd like to start talking a little bit more on how we can consolidate and maybe get rid of some of these administrative fee costs and interdepartmental billing, and kind of do a consolidation of maintenance with the personnel. So.
Anything else?
If that's on our agenda, could I ask that you, before the meeting, kind of draft up your idea of what you got in mind?
That's what I'm going to do. Yeah, we're going to sit down with a couple different department heads and Randy and really work through the numbers and have a actual display of what we're kind of projecting, and get your guys' input of how to make this work.
Okay,
It won't be for this year, it'll be, for budget year 2026, but we want to start talks on it now, so we're very well prepared and thought through everything, and not shotgun it out the door.
All right, anybody else got anything for future agenda items? Any correspondence, not that I'm aware of? Motion to adjourn.
Yes.
Second? Steve with a second, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Who won?
Oh, we didn't.
Didn't that? All right, let's see. So introduce yourself to all these guys.
Jen Fry, I worked on this, half of you know.